Hello, everybody. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this one today, but we are going to link modern dating with the stock market. So hang with me here. One of the analysts that we like to listen to is a guy named George Gammon. And at investor conferences, he poses a question to the crowd. Now, picture the crowd. These are big time investors, successful men, successful women. And he says this, all right, you single men out there in the audience, would you date a woman who works at McDonald's? And the first response from the men is, what does she look like? Well, typical guy. Then he flips it and he says, all right, for you single women out in the audience, successful women, how many of you women would date a guy who's dunking the fries in the hot oil? Crickets. Nobody. So what's his point? He said, look, in general, women want to marry up a little bit. It doesn't always have to be about money. It could be position, the great musician, but something where she feels like she's looking up to him. Very rarely do women want to marry down or even equal a little bit up. So what does this have to do with today? Well, in modern dating, we've got some problems for men. Women have moved up, very professional, they're successful, they're more female college graduates. So the pool of men who are acceptable to them already starts to shrink. The second problem we've got is Instagram. Again, hang with me. When women post pictures of themselves on Instagram, it's typically something like this. They're looking up, it's the pretty shot. And there are lots of beautiful women out there. Well, what happens? They post it on Instagram and they get likes. People are following me. You might even be able to charge $10 a month to get people to follow you on Instagram. You might get 800, 900, 1,000 followers. And what happens is the women start to get a very elevated opinion of themselves. Now, the people who are following the female, when she goes through her list, she's usually going, ooh, ooh, ooh. Nonetheless, what's happened is there's an elevated opinion about whom they should be with. So the third problem is these women oftentimes believe there are thousands of very successful men out there making not just 6 digits, but maybe 7 or 8 digit salaries that they are trying to date. All right, so what's happened out there and what does this have to do with investing? Well, these men who no longer feel as if they are in the game, that they cannot compete for these very beautiful and successful women. In some ways, they're right. You have a bunch of men who in days past might have been able to marry the pretty girl, or at least date her. Now they look at what's going on Instagram because they see the same thing and say, I can never compete against that hedge fund manager who's worth $300 million. And he's got all of these women who want to date him. I'm not even in the game. So what are they doing? What does this have to do with investing? What we're seeing now is a stock market that is moving up on speculation. You go, okay, who's doing the speculating? And by the way, speculation is usually at the end of a great bull market. People aren't investing for fundamentals or value. They're rolling the dice. They're hoping to make it big. So who's doing it? It's mostly men. And the reason they're doing it is they can't get the pretty girl. Now, of course, in years past, for most of us, well, the girl you married probably lived within 5 or 10 years of or 10 miles of where you grew up. Anymore, the field for men and women has expanded greatly, but it's totally changed the dating dynamic. And again, these men don't feel like they can compete. So what are they doing? Let's say they've saved up, you've got a typical guy, 28 years old. He saved $5,000. He thinks, if I bet on Dogecoin or some cryptocurrency or a penny stock or a meme stock, if I can turn that 5,000 into 50,000 and then take 50,000, get to 500,000, 5,000, maybe I could get to 5 million, I'm in the game. I have a chance to date the pretty girl. What are the odds of that? Pretty remote, but can it drive the markets? Absolutely. We just saw it last week. You all may have remembered a movie that came out a couple of years ago about Robinhood stock and trading, and there was a stock called GameStop. And back in the day, everybody went to GameStop to buy games. We all know what happened. The stock shot up, and then the GameStop thing kind of ended. Down went GameStop, and all the hedge funds were betting against it. Well, on Robinhood, there were a bunch of guys who got together and said, we can drive this stock up and stick it to the hedge fund guys. And for a while they did. And from a little bit of money, they made a ton. And then they lost it. Well, the guy who led that revolution was a guy named, get this, Roaring Kitty was his name. He appeared again last week saying, it's not over until I say it's over. We're coming back. And a whole bunch of young men started speculating, trying to take their 5,000 to 5 million. We've never seen this before in investing. We have never seen 1 million people all at once on their phones investing in a total speculation, which drives up the markets. We've never seen this dynamic, but here it is. And it's all part of this society that's totally changed from dating your high school sweetheart to I could date the billionaire out of Brazil. So what does it mean to you? Could the stock market go higher, even though by any historical measure, the stock market is way too high? Yeah. Could it go higher just on speculation? Yes. Is it permanent? Probably not. But please know, as you see stocks go, don't think it's on fundamentals right now. And don't believe that it's going to be lasting. Because think what's on the other side. Those hedge fund guys who have all the money, they know what's going on with these guys who are trying to make it. They will bilk them. This is how it works. They're going to get gamed. So that's the message for today. I've never seen this in investing before, but it's reality right now. And with that, I will turn it over to Walt.